Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services. And Greg, you got out of the office.
I am definitely, well, first of all, to people who keep saying I'm in the basement, I moved out of the basement months ago. So that's not fair at all. Kathy Burns said she's really happy to see me out of the basement. Like my last month's worth of videos, I haven't been in the basement. I'm on the first floor. So anyway, yes, I'm at PMA Foodservice in Monterey, California. It was virtual last year, and I believe this is the first PMA in-person event in about 18 months. They may have had some smaller meetings, but this thing was fully on. The expo is wrapping up. It's behind me in the building where it traditionally is here in Monterey. Opening reception was overly crowded. The expo floor was excellent. They said in the education program today that they were expecting about 1,200 people, which is smaller than it was in the past, but it's really good size. It feels very normal. There's a lot of good talk, a lot of trends that we're paying attention to, a lot of things related to labor problems. I definitely think that's going to be a theme in food service in the next few years, is how can we help everyone's labor problems at every level of the chain. A lot of people too here, especially in California, are seeing each other for the first time in person, and it's awesome. It's people industry.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure they're talking a lot about ghost kitchens. I don't know if that's come up yet. And as someone who's been to 2 industry events since everything reopened, I'm sure you've had the conversation of, it's so great to see you in person, finally. But it's true.
Yeah, you're lucky. You've been to some of them. I haven't, and a lot of people here haven't too.
Yeah, especially in California. A lot of the folks didn't make it out of California to the Viva Fresh and to the Southeast Produce Council. It was just a little too difficult to get out of the office then. So to have this in the back door and backyard means a lot of them didn't even have to get on a plane to get there. So definitely a sign of good attendance there as well. And we had a couple of pretty good stories this week, and one of them was you finally found out who is GrubMarket and what are they doing. That was a great story and a great interview with their founder and CEO. So you want to go a key, and then of course today in the news they had another acquisition. They bought Terminal Produce in New York, and then there's another one that hasn't been announced yet, Grant Hunt as well. So all over the industry, all the different segments of the industry, but there's a strategy behind it.
Yeah, our conversation was amazing, and I'm very fortunate that Mike had time to talk with me. And really, I don't think very many people in the industry know who he is and what their company's doing. We've just kind of heard and seen what they've been doing, but it's really a cool idea. We've seen in plenty of industries how tech venture capital will sink a lot of money into something with the hopes that some of these will pan out big, and we know a lot of these won't work. I think it's a little different with what we're seeing here, because they're buying established produce companies, and he said the goal is to bring them kind of into the digital world, but at the same time they're still operating in the produce industry, and they have their own proprietary software platform that they're going to help all these companies kind of transform into more digital and become more efficient. And it seems like a good plan, and it's really a huge investment. So it's going to be fantastic to see how it turns out.
Yeah, and we're not talking just an acquisition here or there. I remember when we first started seeing them and going, who is GrubMarket and why are they buying companies in California and companies in Texas and then New York and now the Farm Services Company? It's $200 million that they've raised. That's not chump change.
Right, that's a huge amount, and a lot of times, my understanding is these kind of investments take years to be profitable. And Mike said they're profitable now, which is pretty impressive. But at the same time, I guess it shouldn't be that surprising, because they invested in existing produce companies that have good business models, and produce is not a boom or bust business. It's a small margin, getting a little bit smarter type business, and volume, and but it's not always innovative, and so that's what they're bringing to the table.
Well, speaking of getting smarter and innovating, one of the steps that a lot of consultants and analysts had said was going to happen with Instacart officially happened. They just did a deal with Fabric, which is an automated grocery micro-fulfillment company. They're used by Fresh Direct, for example. And Instacart just signed a multi-year deal to work with them to do MFCs, micro fulfillment centers, to do their grocery with. So now people are wondering if this is the next step for Instacart running as an independent grocer instead of being a layer onto other groceries. So that's definitely exciting and definitely an innovation in the industry. And in other, online and e-commerce, we're also seeing Uber Eats went nationwide this week with Albertsons, and they're doing a huge pilot here in Texas with Costco. So tons of news, lots of really exciting stuff.
Yeah, that is cool. I've been busy on the road, so I haven't had a chance to dig into those, but I certainly will read up on producebluebook.com. It is really bright out here, so I'm starting to lose.
And that's also where you can sign up for the Produce Reporter newsletter. I'm going to let you get back to that last hour of the expo, because I'm sure that people have some time to talk now that the waves of people have gone through. And
and it's not as bright in there.
Well, true, not as bright in there, but you're not in the basement anymore.
That's true. Yes.
All right. Well, it's good to see you, Greg. Good to see you out of the office, and we will catch up again next week.
All right.